Over the last 13 years, I've lost 60 pounds and kept it off. Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 signs why professional men won't get lean, leaving you frustrated, questioning everything you're doing, and lying awake 2 a.m. wondering why you are training consistently, eating healthy, and working so hard, but still can't get the body that you want. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what is keeping you stuck, how to fix your approach, build a lean physique that you can maintain for life. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm making a new video about weight loss advice for busy professional men every single week. I use these strategies to help dozens of men just like you lose up to 60 pounds and finally escape the yo-yo dieting cycle. If you're tired of constantly losing and gaining the same weight, I want to help you get to your healthy self without giving up the foods that you love. First lie you've been told is that training harder will automatically make you more lean, and I imagine that you are just thinking that if I'm training harder, I am going to push myself harder and also my body will just change eventually. But I imagine that you've been busting your ass off in the gym so many hours every single week, and you're just thinking that you're working way harder than the person next to you, but you're not seeing any changes even when it's going on for months, and it's just you're not looking athletic. And I also imagine that you are just thinking 2 a.m. wondering why do I work so hard but I'm not able to see any changes. And it's not about the problem with you working out, it's just because you are not training in the right way to create this lean physique. So I want you to prioritizing your nutrition over, for example, just mindlessly working out on the treadmill or with the weights. What I basically mean is that if you are setting up your diet with 300 calories in a deficit and 45% coming from protein and 40% coming from carbs, and also making sure that you are not using any cardio in the beginning of the 2 weeks, you want to have your diet work for itself. Because if you have your nutrition in order and you are building your workout plan in a way that targets the muscle groups that accentuates your, for example, the body, so you have a broad wide shoulder, small waist, and big thighs and big arms, eventually you're going to build a lot more muscles and lose weight all around the muscles that it appears to have this lean muscular physique. So I also want you to prioritizing compound movements when you're working out, because in the beginning of the workout you have so much energy and you want to utilize that energy to build the muscle tissues. For example, if you're working out the front part of the shoulders in the beginning of the workout with military split machine press, then you're targeting the front part of the shoulder. Again, you put a lot of volume. For example, 10-12 reps is the warm-up set, and then you are using progressive overload with putting 2.5 kilos on top of that. So that's the first set after 60 seconds of rest, and then you're going to have 1 to 2 reps before failure, and then you just keep doing that for 3 sets, and eventually you transition over to military dumbbell press. That's also targeting the front part of the shoulder, so you already put a lot of volume on the front part of the shoulder. And in order for you to build width around your shoulder, so you have this wide upper body and looking very just like a Captain America from the Marvel movies, then you want to target the side lateral raises, and then you're just doing the same rep ranges and progressive overload that I've mentioned. And eventually after 3 sets you're going to sit down and doing the lateral raises, so you've been building a lot more width around your shoulder. And in the beginning of the workouts, the first couple of 2 weeks, you are still in your body hasn't registered this calorie deficit yet, so you want to utilize that with working out so much you can, and then you're building more muscle and you're also losing fat even faster. And this is going to help you create a sustainable fat loss plan, because if you are working out 5 times in the gym, you are creating a lot of volume and also muscle mass, and that helps you lose fat even faster, even when you're resting. You don't do any cardio and you have 6,000 steps every single day, and doing this you're going to eventually lose weight all around your body. And if you have no fat or very minimal fat around your muscle, then there's going to appear more lean muscle, and it's just being helpful for you to get that toneness that you really aspire to and being more athletic without spending hours in the gym. If you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with me and my client transformation in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll see if you and I are fit to work together, and I'll help you build up a game plan to lose the weight for good. The next lie you've been told is that your diet needs to be perfect in order for you to get lean, and you most likely telling yourself that you really want to get abs, and in order to get abs you need to eat perfect every single day, but you are most likely at the point where you've been trying strict meal plans before, but you end up just fucking up with, for example, Monday to Friday it goes perfect, but on the weekend you're just having one meal, and that leads to a whole weekend where you've been eating way above your calorie intake, and you are most likely just wanting to restart every single Monday and feeling so depressed and wondering 2 a.m. like why I am not able to be consistent just like everyone else is doing. And I want to tell you that it's not about you just having no discipline, it's just about you don't have a system that is going to fit your lifestyle. And I'm using something that's called flexible dieting. Let's imagine that you have your calories set with 300 calories in deficit, and then you want to switch between the meal plans. Let's say if you have one meal plan that you are eating the whole week, but eventually you're going to feel that is kind of bland and you want to switch up with another meal plan that is hitting your calorie deficit and your macros, and how to best and easiest make meal plans that is going to fit the taste bud of yours is using my fitness pal with premium subscription. You drag and drop the kinds of recipes that you really enjoy, and the most important thing is just hitting the macros and the calorie deficit, because eventually you are going to drag and drop the kinds of recipes that you want. It's just easier. And if you have 2 meal plans a week, it's going to be fun to lose weight, because you are just thinking that you're going to eat different kinds of food that you enjoy, and it's also easier to meal prep this way, because if you are changing your meal plans every single day, you're going to end up buying a whole bunch of crap and you're not going to eat that too much. So make it simple for yourself. And eventually when you are going to the weekend, I'm using something that's called flexible dieting in a way that, let's imagine that I want to hit my calorie deficit and also my macros. So after I've been working out and having my fast being broken like 12 p.m., I'm getting, for example, 500 calories. I'm still trying to focusing on having most of my protein intake hit in the beginning of the day, and then the last meal of the day I have allocated like 1500 calories. Let's imagine that to be in a 300 calorie deficit you need to get 1800 calories. So I'm just having 500 calories in the beginning of the day, and the 1300 calories for the next meal is placed later that day. So I'll make sure that I'm hitting most of my calories with the protein intake, and then the last meal I'm just going out for dinner with my family, and it's just being very flexible because I'm eating stuff that I usually don't eat. And I know that if you're going out and eat, there's some difference when it comes to the restaurant saying that there's 500 calories or 1000 calories, but sometimes they put oil or more butter in it, so you need to take that into account when you're doing that. And sometimes if you've been doing, for example, weight loss for 2 weeks, your metabolism is going to decrease. And what I'm also introducing there is something that's called free meal, where you are eating 700 calories above your calorie deficit. So even when you are at this point where you've been strict to your diet for 2 weeks, eventually you're going to use this with eating a bit more above your calorie deficit, and it doesn't make a big difference. You're just going to lose weight even faster because the metabolism is going to increase by eating 700 calories from carbs, and that's going to help you not only look leaner but also lose weight even faster the next couple of days. And this way you're going to get a more enjoyable life with your career, relationships, and life while losing weight. Third lie you've been told is that you need to lose weight before building any muscle, and I imagine that you're just trying to tell yourself that you need to get more skinny and then I'll just build muscle later. And you've lost some weight before, but you don't look like the person that you imagine when you've lost all the weight. Your body is looking smaller, it's not so impressive. You look yourself in the mirror and thinking, why do I look like someone who's not barely lifting any weights? And the missing piece is just you not doing more weight loss is about building the right physique, and that's why I want you to prioritize in the weight training. I already mentioned in the first slide that how to build broad right shoulders, but then you also want to go over to the chest in order to have this big wide shoulders and a smaller waist and big thighs, and also the arms being bigger. You need to place a lot of muscle mass on the front part of the shoulders, like the upper part of the shoulders and also the upper part of the chest. So you want to start out with the second day. That could be the chest. You're using incline military press in a Smith machine, and then you're going over to dumbbell incline press and go over to cable flies. Then you go over to triceps push downs and rope push downs and bench dips, because if you're building a lot of volume over the chest here, you're going to appear more wider, and in order to appear more wider, you also need to target the triceps from all different kinds of angles, because triceps is just a different way to say that there are 3 muscle groups in the triceps. So if you're building a lot of muscle mass around the triceps, you're going to appear much bigger with the arms. And that's just the second part of the workout plan out of 5. And the third part is just, for example, if you want to have a wide back from the side and also from the back, you want to start out with barbell rows, because that's going to give you the thickness when it comes to looking yourself from the side of the, for example, the mirror. And then you want to seal neutral grip. That is going to give you more width when it comes to having a wider back. And then you want to go over to dumbbell double rows. That is going to help you get more muscle mass on top of the upper part of the back. And then you go over to close grip pull downs. That is going to get you more width and also thickness when it comes to your upper part of your back. And then rear flies. And then you go over to hamstring curls and seated hamstring curls. That's also going to build more big thighs, like the back of the thighs. And the 4 sessions of the 5 split is going to be, for example, I would say leg presses. That could be, you put some place on the leg press, and then you're also going over to hack squat. That is going to help you build the quads, and eventually you're going over to leg press, where you don't put any place, but it's more, you need to adjust it with the weights, not putting on place. There are different kinds of leg press machines, and then you're going over to leg extension, and then just crunches with rope crunches to build up the upper part of the abs. And then you're going to over to lying leg raises, so that is tightening the lower part of the abs. And you always want to have a warm-up set with 10 to 12 reps. Just put some weights, and then eventually 60 seconds, and then you're trying to increase the weight with 2.5 kilos, or depending on how much you can increase it. And you just keep pushing yourself 1 to 2 reps before failure. And doing this way, you're going to build a lean, toned, muscular body. And also the 5th time of the workout is just targeting the weak areas. I used to have weak areas with the shoulders and the upper part of the chest, so that was what I was working on. And you are also wanting to prioritize 45% of your daily calories come from protein, and at least 30 grams of protein every single of the meal, because it's going to help you reduce the cravings when you're working out. And yeah, you're just going to lose fat and building a lean muscular body that you can be really proud of when you look yourself in the mirror. The 4th lie you've been told is that the scale is the best way to measure your progress, and you're just thinking that if my weight is not dropping, you are not seeing any progress, and you most likely been training your ass off in the gym for so many months, and your clothes fit differently. You look and feel strong, but the scale is just not moving fast enough, like 1 to 2 pounds a week. And you panic, you change your plans, and you're starting all over. And in the middle of the night, you've been thinking, why can't I ever make this long term without seeing any results? And I want you to take it easy and not panicking too much, because you've been measuring your weight and also your progress the wrong way. There's 3 types of way to, for example, measuring your progress. The first one is the scale. You do that every Monday on an empty stomach. You take a piss or a dump, and then you just weigh yourself without drinking or eating anything, naked. And it's easier for you to have an accurate way to get the right weight, and then you put it into your tracker. And then you also want to take pictures before and after. You have some shorts on and nothing on your over body and you have a friend helping you with that, most likely in the living room where it's more authentic lighting in the middle of the day, so it's easier to take some progress picture there, so you can see every 4th week how your body is changing. And then you also want to take a measuring tape all around your body, especially around the upper part of the shoulder and also the chest, also the waist, because if you are losing maybe 1 pound or 2 pounds a week, that's awesome, but sometimes you're just losing 1 pound or maybe a half pound, so you don't want to panic too much if you are not losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, because you're also building a lot of muscle with having a high protein diet and focusing on having a lot of high intensity workouts in the gym with strength training. So you're building a lot of muscle mass and then you're losing weight, but sometimes it's just difficult to estimate. So if you are seeing that you are getting broader around the shoulders and the chest and also the arms, and the inches around your waist after 4 weeks is going to decrease, you're going in the right direction. And you also want to monitor your strength. You're trying to increase the weight every single week, and also looking at the, for example, the composition of the clothes. If you are feeling that the clothes is fitting you better around the waist, that's awesome. And then you know that you're making progress without obsessing about the scale. The 5th lie you've been told is that in order to get lean, you need the perfect workout plan. And you've also been telling yourself that you need the right workout, diet, supplements, and everything will just stick. But you most likely been downloading a shit ton of workout programs, tried so many diets that you're so confused. You're changing your workouts all the time and watch hundreds of YouTube videos about working out. And every single month that you are starting out from scratch again, because in the middle of the night, you're just at the most lowest thinking like, why do you keep doing this? But you're never going to maintain it. And the problem isn't the information, it's more about how having a system that you can follow consistently. And I want you to create some simple non-negotiable habits. For example, you are waking up the same time every single day and starting out with 1 liter of water, and then you have a black of coffee, and maybe you're going to the gym. I usually go into the gym in the beginning of the day because I have the most energy and I want to utilize that energy to working out and have the most energy to pumping out the weights and create a lot of muscle mass. And the more muscle mass I am having, the faster I'm going to lose weight. And then I'm drinking more water throughout the, for example, a couple of hours, because I feel like that is going to help with my focus when I'm working. And then 12 p.m. I'm breaking my fast, so that is going to help me with recover from the workout with 30 grams of protein at least and 40 grams of carbs, because I want to replenish my glycogen stores. If you've been working out, you bring down the muscle tissues through progressive overload and compound movements and isolation movements, and you want to recharge yourself so you don't feel sluggish and have that energy levels in check. And the best way to recover after working out is to have placed your largest meal right after you've been working out, and then 3 hours later maybe you're having a protein cookie with like 30 grams of protein, and then you are not feeling that you need the urge to binge eat. And you also want to have something that you really enjoy. If you like a protein cookie, that's awesome, but if you like a protein muffin, you do that instead. And then the last meal of the day could be a meal with your family. You eat something that's on your plan. Maybe if you want to eat with your family, you make a larger batch for them. But sometimes when you are on this weight loss plan, you need to prioritize in what you're eating. And as long as you're sitting with your family and eating, I don't even care about how it looks like. Just making sure that you have the support from your family and create an environment where the support that's easy for you to be on track. And if your family is awesome, they will support you. If they don't, whatever. Sometimes I didn't get the support that I want. I didn't care. So eventually I just moved out on my own, and eventually my family or friends were just starting to support me. But if they didn't, I don't care. But it's more about trying to create an environment where it's the least resistance to following your workout plan, and eventually you're going to be more calm because you've been seeing the results and you don't need to be so strict. But in the beginning, it's just doing it for yourself, and stop chasing these fucking shortcuts with soup diets. For example, only drinking juice, soup, eating fruits. You are removing all the, for example, food groups that is necessary for you to have a balanced diet and Balanced diet is the most sustainable way to lose weight and keep it off. If you're thinking only eating like meat for a couple of months, eventually you will have higher cholesterol, and also you are going to go to events with your family where you cannot not always eat meat. It's just easier to have a sustainable weight loss plan if you're able to eat from all the food groups. And if you're not able to eat any carbs, you are just going to feel very sluggish, and that's going to impact your work. So like doing this way, you are going to lose the weight for good without restarting every single Monday. And if you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with me and my client transformation in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll see if you and I are fit to work together, and I'll help you build a game plan to lose the weight for good. Bye.